Hey guys, I just wanted to do a channel update and get something off of my chest. It's been a while since I did a video, and tonight's the night. So I just want to say that last week I was on Josh Miota's channel, Lost Through the Rabbit Hole, and I'm going to post a link to that interview in this video's description, so check that out. I did about an hour and 45-minute interview about some of my experiences. He's got a new podcast. He was formerly partners with Robert Earl White, and he's went on his own and had a lot of fun. I'm going back on tomorrow night. It's going to be airing Thursday of this week, so that'll be part 2 of the first interview. So anyway, we'll talk about that. Thursday, the 15th of December, I'm going on Law de Leon's channel, Sovereign Key. I'm going to do another interview there. And then at the end of the month, I'm going to be on with Robert, the Typical Skeptic podcast with Lauda. We're going to talk about the transdimensional AI augmented reality known as the planetary consciousness simulation, and kind of everything in between. So, and kudos to Lauda, because I've had so much of a cold shoulder in this community for so long. It's just refreshing to meet someone, and without really getting to know her, she volunteered to say, hey, I'll not only do an interview with you, but, well, she's going to interview me, but I'll go on the show with you too, without even ever talking to me, other than just a couple of emails. And it really says a lot, because I think she's a great lady, and I can't wait to talk to her. And so I'm really looking forward to that. She's a breath of fresh air in this community where people act weird and standoffish and don't want to network together to try to get the truth out. So it's a very strange community, by the way. If you ever wonder what it's like trying to meet the president as a street bum in a shopping cart. That's what it's like when you're an experiencer trying to get in just to tell your story. So anyway, let me get a drink of water and we'll start. Okay, a couple of days ago, I had another flash of memory, and this was a pretty disturbing memory. And I knew this was in there. I knew I'd had these experiences, but now I'm pretty much aware of it, that it's a fact. I had a memory of being inside a DUM, which is a deep underground military base. It was just a flash of memory. It came with the intuitive message that there's going to be more, that this is where it's headed. So what happened was in the flash of memory, I was being pushed down a large hallway. And I was on, some kind of hospital cart, and I was being pushed down this hallway, and I was covered partially with something. I couldn't tell if it was a sheet or if it was a piece of plastic or it was a mask over my face with oxygen. I don't know. All I know is I regained consciousness, and I looked up, and it looked like I was looking through a triangle, because there was like a sheet or something parting me, like over the top of my eyes. Like I could see a little bit, like enough to let air through. But it felt like I was covered up in something. And I looked straight up, and there were 2 people pushing this thing that I was on, and they had lab coats on. And it was a deep underground military base. It felt like it. I knew what it was, and I could see a framework up in the ceiling, and it was a big ceiling. I mean, it was up there. It was the equivalent, I would say, of a high school gymnasium size ceiling, or maybe a little lower, but it's hard to tell from just being a split second that I had this flash of memory. And the flash of memory came with some emotions as well, which I had to deal with later in the day. I just started to cry, and this happens a lot. It happens a lot when these memories begin to surface, especially if they're traumatic, and everything that I think I've been through has been pretty traumatic. And there's memories that are, most of which are probably best left forgotten, but I need to explore this. I need to know what happened to me, at least as much as I can tolerate. And I was likely a child in that memory. I don't know. It felt like it. So that's what I've been through. I've been a victim of joint ET military abductions. I don't know how many I've had, 12, 14, 15. I have no idea. Throughout my childhood, there's many, many instances where I've had night frights, where I felt presences. I've had many memories. Actually, I've had memories of dreams where I wake up in the dream and there's a presence in a room, and I try to get out of bed and run out of the room, and instead I'm frozen. I'm frozen right in my place, and I can't move. It feels like I'm trying to run against, like, it just feels like I'm encapsulated in ice or steel. I can't move. It's an invisible force. I'm referring to the resistance to movement. There's absolutely no movement. You can't move. And so I'm like, and I think one memory I was trying to like push through it, and it was just impossible. And I think these were the beginning of an abduction. I'm damn sure of it, that most of them were. And I think a lot of these types of memory fragments either come through as dreams because they're traumatic, and your mind works in such a way where you still get some of it, even though they've removed the memories. Well, they don't really remove it; they block them, or they're making me remember these things and putting these memory fragments inside dreams. So that's what it's like to deal with this. There's nothing glamorous about it. I know a lot of people who say, oh, I'd love to meet an extraterrestrial. Well, yeah, there's some good ones out there, but for the most part, you don't want to meet these extraterrestrials. You don't want to have anything to do with any of the ETs that are doing anything with the U.S. military or any one of these governments. They're negative. They're the ones fueling all of the heartache and misery around this world right now. So, yeah, it's been a rough road, and I just want to say that when I found out that I was a MILAB, not just a starseed that had extraterrestrial contact, when I broke the mind control and realized how abused I was and what it was going on with me and who was really behind it, and how bad it really is, when I finally realized that, I really took it to heart about what's going on with this entire community. I realized that the SSP and the super soldier people that were out there telling their stories, that I was one of them, and that what it means to be one of them is simply to be an abduction victim by extraterrestrials in a joint military program. And all abductions go through some form of government, some form of cooperation between the ETs and the government. Mainly the military. Those are the ones who are directly involved. The U.S. military is the main part of it, but the Australian military, Australian government, U.S. government, at some level they're aware of this, and they're all involved in it with these extraterrestrials. So when I got into the community the last couple of months, and first thing that, though my first introduction was one of the main people in the community, which is James Rink, the Super Soldier Talk, and I was a bit surprised talking to him about, because he had a lot of new age type of beliefs in him, which I thought was unusual. I didn't expect that. I didn't think that I didn't think a super soldier would be into that, but apparently I was in for a rude awakening, because as I started to look around and started to watch videos, and I started to see some of the other influencers out there that have been MILAB victims, I've noticed one particular thing, and that's that a lot of these people are doing the same things that those who are in the New Age movement are doing. They're basically contactees, but at a different level. It was very alarming to me, because I know that about 90% of the ET contact that human beings get on this planet is with negative ETs, mainly portraying positive ones. I know that they're behind the New Age movement. And the reason why I know that, well, because, I've accessed my higher self. There's one reason. I've had contact with positive ETs that came in to help me break free of this. That's number two. And I had a download. Plus, there's evidence that I can see all around that I could point out, but also I had a download. And I had this download way back in 2019. And I was shown the beginning of the early contactee movement. Now, I thought I was dealing with positive ETs who were turning me into a social influencer contactee or so, to go out and to, to talk about all these things, And I thought I was going to be like, they had me convinced that I was going to be like an Elizabeth April type person or one of these others, you know. And I found her through Rex Baird, a Leak Project, and I thought that there was a lot of parallels between her and I, but I didn't realize what they were, which is being victimized by ETs. So anyway, as I got into this community, I realized that things were very much like the New Age movement, and it was. And then that's when I saw the problem. I didn't see what I expected to see, which is early on, about 15, 20 years ago, when Project Camelot started to get into this. They tried to do legitimate research. They weren't relying on channelers. They weren't relying on any of this stuff. They were doing things what I would consider to be the right way. Now we've got something that's different, and what it is, and anyway, I kind of got lost there. I had to download. Sorry guys, I apologize. It's been a long night. I did an interview earlier and things went awry with that. So I had to download a psychic download. It took me back to something called Giant Rock, and I didn't know what it was, but I knew I'd seen it before. It was this big rock, and there was all these people hanging around this rock trying to vector in ET craft. They were waiting to have some sort of contact experience, and it was in what looked like, it looked like the state of Nevada. It was pretty dry. A lot of white sand, a lot of tan sand, not red sand, but it looked like a part of Nevada. And what I found out is what I was actually looking at was something called Giant Rock. And Giant Rock was a big rock that George Van Tassel first actually purchased the land and had an airstrip built and started channeling the Galactic Federation and the Ashtar Command. And he had this kind of ceremonial room that was used to channel ETs that apparently is under the rock itself. It's like you go under it and it's inside the ground, and there's a plaque on the ground that talks about the whole thing. And I saw it. It was on, I think, Wikipedia is where I found it at. So that was from my download, and I was told that, the ETs had started this movement of the New Age movement, and it's for disclosure, it's positive, it's to help humanity. They started with the George Van Tassel area, and I saw the Giant Rock thing. And, when I look back, I was dealing with Dracos. They showed me how they did this whole movement from the start, where it began, up to now, New Age channelers. I know that most of the people who channel are getting contacted by deceptive extraterrestrials, and they think that they're actually talking to positive ones. So, and if you look at what they channel, the information that they give, over time, it's wildly contradicting. It contradicts itself, and instead of going back and saying, hey, I must have been lied to, they just kind of just go right along and they keep going. They double down and they don't talk about it. People forget. Those people who figured out, hey, there's something wrong with this message, they went away and they came back later, some of them, and the rest just showed up. So it sounds like the truth to them. And it just keeps going on like that. So, what I'm seeing is in the super soldier community and the SSP community, it's one and the same, is I'm seeing an infiltration and an effort to spread disinformation. Now, another thing I had too is I had a Arcturian contact named Helbiad who worked for the Dracos. He was into the soul trade. I didn't know this until after it all came out, but he was supposed to be my spirit guide. He said he was with me since birth. He said that he loved me and that he'd watch me, and he watched me grow. It was all a lie. None of it was true. And anyway, I had asked him, I said, hey, because nobody would talk to me in the entire UFO community. I couldn't get anybody to even give me the time of day to listen to me. And I said to him, hey, this is before I actually met Robert of Typical Skeptic Podcast. And I said, hey, what if I contact Dr. Michael Sala? And he said, don't contact him. He says, he's in a special program of ours. And I said, what is that? He said, it's one of the first times that a researcher has taken channelers and contactees seriously, and it's a kind of a program we're running where it creates a bridge between the two groups. And lo and behold, Dr. Sala is out there promoting mostly heavily channeled and telepathically derived information from extraterrestrials. And it's being mixed in with the New Age, the super soldier community. The whole thing is blending together. So what I'm saying is, people, is that there is a concerted effort by the negative ETs to basically corrupt the disclosure, the stream of information that we call disclosure coming from the SSP and super soldier communities. They're inundating it with channelers and people that are controlled, what I would call controlled MILABs. These are people that still have the hooks in them. They still have the implants. They still have the silver corded attachments, and they're being mind controlled. They're running off of screen memories, and they're being manipulated. And when they channel, they're getting false information. The false information is designed to create a false disclosure because there's two sides to this. There's two sides to the SSP super soldier system situation. You have the positive side, which is helping us wake up. This is the side that is behind the scenes, is working with people. It's initiating, they're bringing out these memories. Okay? It's all part of a plan. If you go and you read, or if you listen to Tony Rodriguez's testimony, he'll tell you that when he was in the SSP, they had this, it was like he would get money, I think, and he would go out and he was given special privileges as a slave to go out and spend this money, and they had nightclubs at different places, and he got his fortune told, and the woman said, because they had fortune tellers and psychics there too, because if you're in the SSP, you still have the etheric implants in you that keep you from being psychic inside the planetary consciousness simulation. So you can leave that resonant field and still not be psychic and still be under their control. So they have psychics, this is for the normal SSP, the victims, the slaves, the people that have been trapped. It's for them to go to the psychics, I guess. So the psychic told him that you're going to be one of the ones that remembered. Now, where would she get that from? Because he was one. That's because she knew that she got an intuitive message that he was going to be one of the ones, and that's because he was, and so are so many others. They're waking us up. They want us to go forward and talk and give our disclosure to the world. They want this exposed. And so at the same time, what are the Dracos and the Orion ETs doing? And the others that help them, that are on the side that want to destroy and enslave humanity's souls. So what are they doing? Well, they're corrupting that disclosure, screen memories. They're putting people into the community that don't belong in the community, that are contactees and channelers. They talk about the SSP, but they're there to corrupt the situation, and they don't know any better because they think they're getting the truth. And that's where the problem is. And there's people that organize these events and put them together and decide, okay, it's great just to put all these people together. When in fact, what they're doing is they're allowing the community and the stream of disclosure to be distorted and perverted and manipulated. So I just want you guys to know that. It's something that you should look when you watch these videos, and you use your discernment, because it isn't all completely true. And there's a big problem going on. So everything that takes place, there's a yin and a yang, a push and a pull. This is the Draco response to the positive ETs waking us up. They want to pervert, they want to destroy, they want to ruin the disclosure. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a great holiday. I hope Thanksgiving went well for all of you. And I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. If you celebrate Kwanzaa, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. If you're Jewish, and it's Hanukkah, is it? I'm not Jewish, I wouldn't know, but I think it's Hanukkah. It's a celebration of light. Happy Hanukkah to everybody, and just happy solstice to the rest of you. So take care, and make sure that you don't forget to love one another. And I'll see you soon. I'll see you guys soon. I'm all messed up tonight. Take care. Good night.